Up first, Dr. Susan Love is a distinguished surgeon, and she's also author of the definitive book on breast health, Dr. Susan Love's Breast Book. I got to sit down with her recently to talk about her focus, eradicating breast cancer and improving women's lives.
You have said that we can be the generation that stops breast cancer, that it just takes money, will, and vision. Tell me about that.
Well, I think we've made progress in terms of treating breast cancer, but where we haven't really made enough progress is finding the cause, figuring out what causes it to start. You look at cancer of the cervix, and we went from doing pap smears and hysterectomies, because we didn't know what else to do, to finding out it was a virus and having a vaccine. 30 years, no walks, no pink ribbons, no runs. And we can do that for breast cancer. So I think what we have to do as women is move the pressure into finding the cause and stopping it altogether.
And of course, in the past, the treatment has pretty much been the surgery, the chemo, the radiation. And we're now starting to move a little bit beyond that. Now we've got hormonal therapy. Is that as effective? Where does that play in?
Well, we've got a lot of different things that we can use, and what we're finding out is that there's 4 or 5 different kinds of breast cancer. They're not all the same, and you don't treat them all the same. So there may be some that are hormonal, that treating them with hormones is just as good, and chemo doesn't even work. And then others where chemo works better, and others that targeted therapies work better. So what's different is we're finding out it's not one size fits all, but really trying to match the kind of cancer with the right therapy.
But you've said to me that HRT and mammograms play a big part of this. So explain, to start with HRT.
The hormone replacement therapy, especially estrogen and progestin, are pretty clearly shown to increase breast cancer within the first couple of years of being on it, and as soon as you stop, the increase goes away.
All right, mammograms.
Mammograms find those slow cancers that take a long time to grow and are not so good at finding aggressive cancers. And so we've increased the numbers of cancers we've diagnosed, but we haven't decreased the deaths. And that's because we're not finding those really aggressive ones early.
And what's on the horizon that excites you?
What excites me is trying to figure it out. What excites me are the studies that are looking at, could it be a virus, for example, that starts this? What excites me is figuring out what are the conditions that lead to cancer? What are the lifestyle issues that we can do that will keep us from getting breast cancer? You know, 80% of women who get breast cancer have no risk factors, did everything right. So that means we don't have a clue.
Let's talk to women today. The most important factors to reduce your risk of ever getting breast cancer.
The things we know about: stay away from extra radiation. So when somebody wants to do an x-ray, say, how is this going to change my treatment? And if it's not going to, don't do it. Especially things like CAT scans, which are very high radiation. Don't have them unless you need them. Stay away from extra hormones. HRT is not good, and fertility drugs we don't know about yet. Really, the jury's still out on those.
And what about hormones in foods if you have little girls? Hormones in milks and all that?
Well, those are probably less important than the ones we're popping in our mouths as pills, actually. Although, you know, that's probably a good idea. And exercise. Exercise is critical. For girls, especially during puberty and thereafter, but throughout your life, maintain a healthy weight, particularly postmenopausally, is important. And if you have a choice, have your kids early. The younger you have your first pregnancy, the lower your risk.
What we're really talking about here is understanding what the risks are so that you understand what your own personal risk is.
That's right. But the problem is, these risks are the ones we know about, but they only explain about 20% of breast cancer. So what I really want to get to is what are the risks we don't know about. So we're going to launch a study out of the Love Avon Army of Women, where we're recruiting 1 million women to help us. And we're going to start collecting data, and with that, we'll be able to start asking, what are the things that we all are wondering about, and from cosmetics to, underwire bras, that we have no idea if they're increasing the risk. And so that's why we're really going to do this large study, the Health of Women study, where we can figure this out. Because I'm frustrated. We don't have to have breast cancer anymore. We can stop it.
Who are you looking for? Are you looking for people who are at risk? Are you just looking for a random population?
I want everybody. I want healthy women. I want women with breast cancer. I want women at risk. Anyone over 18 can sign up. We need all ethnicities. We need women who have other diseases, because if we don't look at everybody, then we're not going to have an answer that applies to everybody. So we really need to get a concerted effort. And if all of us join in on this, then we can answer these questions.
It's always good to see you, Susan.
Thank you.